Hey, good evening, everyone. Trying to get a Facebook post up here too. We've got the YouTube going, so I'll just kind of explain what's going on here. I'm going to go check for audio as well. Sometimes I don't get audio from there. We've got a line of storms coming in from Mississippi, tracking into the shoals. I think we're going to see a weakening trend here within the next 45 minutes as the bigger storms to the south kind of choke that off. Let's go over here and see what we got going on. They got a complicated setup in our OTT center. Looks like it is automatically going here on Facebook too. So let me check my audio levels. This is odd, because it's gotten to where it automatically starts. Oh no, that's not what I was looking for. Seems like the only thing working is YouTube. Just want to make sure my mic is working. I'm going to our YouTube channel. Okay.
ShopSelectBlinds.com Memorial Day
commercial
sale
works.
from May 23rd to May 29th and take 60% off site-wide.
So as we go in here into northwest Alabama, these storms, they've got a severe thunderstorm warning. They're moving east at about 55 miles an hour, so they're moving pretty stout. Skip. Oh, I wanted to skip that. It wouldn't let me. Hope you guys have a good Sunday. We've had a few reports from the earlier storms, but no confirmation of any tornadoes. Okay, audio is working. Good deal. I may just do YouTube. Let me copy that. Because that's not working. Maybe it'll start working for me if I come out here. Just a second here. I'll get with you guys in just a minute. Let me get all these things routed over correctly. Okay, I'm going to share this over here on my Northwest Alabama page. And then I'm actually going to try to start the Facebook Live from here as well. But right now, as I look at these storms over here moving in, there's some gusty winds, and the fact that it's moving, I'm going to turn that volume down. The fact that storm's moving east at about 55 miles an hour, the vertically integrated liquid's down some, and I think what's eventually going to happen, as we take a bigger view here, is the storms to the south here are likely going to choke off the instability that's riding north. However, there's still a threat here roughly from down to Smith Lake and Coleman County as we get down the road here. So we'll have to watch that. Yeah. So let me go over here, get in a little bit closer. A lot of lightning moving into Waterloo right now. We don't have any twisting wind going on here. This is primarily straight line wind. And what's happening is it's really hard for the radar to pick out the wind speed here because it's moving from west to east and the radar beam is basically north-south. So we run into this problem quite a bit. But a lot of lightning with that storm moving into Waterloo, moving to Cherokee, and eventually down to Florence. So let me go over here. Okay, I've got 3 of these Facebook pages, so I go through and make sure I share on all of them. did not get the... I'm supposed to be collaborating here with this. Oh, well. Oh, it won't let me go Facebook Live on our main page. But let's see if I can do something here real quick. Severe thunderstorm warnings out. I think the most intense part of this storm is just to the west of Waterloo, moving in. Isolated wind damage possible along this line. Reload. Okay, why is it? It does not want me to go Facebook Live. But, yeah, I don't see a real tornado threat along this line as it comes in. Looking at some of your questions on here. Got 286 watching. Basically going to move into Waterloo with a lot of lightning. And that's the most intense part of that thunderstorm. Starting to pick up a little bit stronger wind here. So we're probably going to see some really strong wind here moving across Pickwick Lake. Just the lightning alone, it's been fairly significant here within this storm. Yeah, Facebook's kind of a strange animal. Sometimes on this streaming platform, we go through this, it's called Element. And for some reason, it's not working good. They're not talking, so to speak, on the stream software setup. Let's see if I switch to persistent stream key, if that works. But meanwhile, very frequent lightning going on here. Okay. We've got it working here on my other Facebook page. Okay, let's see if that works. I'm going to pause this. And I'm going to turn the audio up again. Last time I tried to do this, I didn't get any audio on the Facebook page. We'll see. Okay. All right, it's working. All right, we got people on Facebook Live now. I'm on Northeast Alabama page. We're on YouTube Live. So we got two of the main platforms covered. We're tracking these storms coming in. And there's a lot of lightning with this particular storm over here making its way into Waterloo right now. And we got the double vision behind me. Let me change that. There we go. That's better. So we're basically looking at a significant lightning storm moving to Pickwick Lake. It's moving towards Waterloo and Gravelly Springs and eventually moving into Florence and just on the north side of Florence, St. Florian and Sheffield, Muscle Shoals. You're all kind of in the path of this. Got to check the Weather Service, see if we got any additional updates. I'm watching some area rotation here near Midway in Tishomingo County. So let's take a closer look at this. Yeah, that's just, I mean, the problem is the angle the radar hits this, you're always going to see that this isn't, I don't think this is really rotation. What's happening is yeah, this is a challenge for the radar operator because you have basically the wind is going this way, and out ahead of it, there's always going to be this strong southerly fetch here, and this is most likely what's happening. Instead of rotation, it looks like rotation, but this is just strong gusty winds out ahead of this line. So hopefully we won't see a tornado warning for this based on that, because I've seen this radar do this all the time. Shear rate. And I think that the most intense part's near Waterloo with the let's see. Yeah, it's going to be between Iuka and yeah. Once the storm gets east of that location, yeah, there's Midway's right here. Again, you're going to get the shear in the atmosphere is just not real supportive for tornadoes at all today, anywhere. And again, no reports of tornadoes up in Tennessee earlier today. With that mess that moved through earlier. Let's see. You know, for some reason, I can't see any comments over here on my Facebook page. Okay, I'm going to go to my other radar here. Yeah, those storms to the south are really going to influence the eastward extent of this threat for severe weather. But the fact we've got all this lightning still indicates we got a real strong updraft in that thunderstorm there. Check questions on my Facebook page. So many places to get information and have to get messages. For some reason. Oh, duh. I didn't hit go live. That's why. All right. I had one last button to push. So now I'm doing Facebook Live. Oh, and now it. Okay, there. Good. Now I should see comments. All right. So now that we're all together here, we're tracking these strong to severe thunderstorms coming in. The most intense lightning's in Waterloo right now, and the wind is probably going about 50 mile an hour due west to east. So the highest winds are going to come in from the west as this moves to the east. I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on here for you. Go back. Again, we're on YouTube and we are on Facebook Live. I'm actually going to go ahead and share. Go back to the radar here. I'm going to share Facebook because, I mean, everybody's scattered with social media anymore. Going to up the hail size to potentially 2 inches in diameter. Let's see what the VIL data looks like here. Yeah, that storm's getting stronger there with the potential for larger hail coming in. Again, possibly golf ball size hail with that storm. I'm coming in to look at the velocity again. Yeah, we just have a really strong updraft in that storm. So let me change this over. Okay, I've got that shared there. Oh, this is odd. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Facebook. It's like I'm live in all sorts of other places now. So we're just going to roll with it. Again, we're tracking a storm over here near Waterloo. Hail size is increasing with that storm. So significant hail damage likely to rooftops with that storm as it's tracking to the east. Overall rotation in this storm is mainly in the mid-levels, and that's what's producing the hail as this storm moves to the east. I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on here for you. All right. Dangerous storm in Waterloo. We've got lots of hail going on from Waterloo down to Eastport. I'll take this lightning data off and take a look at the velocity. Still, main area of wind is probably right behind it over here near Iuka, kind of punching in there. The shear rate's not all that impressive, but again, there's a lot of hail with this storm here. And we're going to track this east at about 50 miles an hour. Actually, about 55 miles an hour. It's moving quick. So, Cherokee's 8:05. It's currently 3 minutes before 8. Gravelly Springs 8:07. Stewartville and Central Heights between 8:10 and 8:15. Sheffield 8:21. Florence 8:22. McFarland Park 8:23. St. Florian 8:24. Killen 8:30. Lexington 8:40. Joe Wheeler State Park 8:43. Rogersville. You've already had enough hail this spring, but there's more potentially on the way. 8:45. And then Anderson 8:46. A lot of lightning with this storm. So again, 2-inch hail possible and 60-mile-per-hour winds a possibility with this storm. I'm going to get back in closer here, take the lightning off. Yeah, just a lot of wind moving into Cherokee. I don't see any strong rotation with this storm. This is mostly a hail and isolated damaging wind storm. Go ahead and start my hand tracker again in case we got to break into programming for it. But as we go farther south along this line, we've got a lot of wind down here west of Hamilton. So there's kind of a disconnect. We've got this severe hail up here near Waterloo, and then the next area with severe weather is probably down here near Fulton. And this is tracking east. Let's get a closer eye out for you folks in Phil Campbell. Yeah, the warning extends all the way down the state line, but this area over here, I'm going to track that in this direction here. So we've got high winds, Hamilton, Vina 8:11, Hodges 8:18, Hackleburg 8:22, Phil Campbell 8:33, and Haleyville 8:34. Not seeing the hail signature as much with this one. Let me take a look at that hail signature. That one's more straight line wind. The hail size is about to max out now with that storm moving towards Gravelly Springs, excuse me. So we're probably seeing winds around 50 miles an hour. We could see an isolated damaging wind gust to 60 miles per hour as this storm collapses. If it collapses, if and when. But we've got a big lightning and hailstorm here, tracking east at about 55 miles an hour. So I stay away from those windows there in Waterloo, Stewartville, Cypress Inn, Hines, and that hail core is going to be close there. So let me take that lightning off again. So large hail, this area in purple, and it's probably higher north too already because it's probably behind just a little bit. Let me take a look at, yeah, this is a better view here from high top. So there we go. We've got large hail. This is just kind of how it's tracking. This is the area of large hail. I'll edit that real quick. So the hail core moving right towards Central Heights, St. Florian, Killen 8:34, Anderson 8:52, Mount Roswell 9 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for 15 more minutes. They'll likely extend this. We'll probably start getting more reports of large hail here. Claudia's watching in Boaz. I'll check in with our YouTube viewers here. Yeah, this is mainly hail and high wind coming in. But we're still waiting. At some point, I think the farther east this moves, we're going to see the influence of that rain-cooled boundary from earlier today. Velocity still doesn't show any signs of a tornado in here. And again, what I'm tracking here is the hail threat. So I think in about 45 minutes we should see some weakening with this thunderstorm because areas to the south of this are not as intense. It's just this one significant storm here. Wind is picking up. Thanks, Slim. All right, back to Facebook real quick. Let's see what else is going on here. Okay, so it looks like I'm live on the WFF page too. I'll come in here and check that. All right, check some of the comments on the WFF page. Any updates on Huntsville? Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and start doing extended storm tracks here for this area. It's about that time of day where you can be able to see this storm a long ways away. So as I go down the road here, let me track. I'm going to track this part of the storm. We're going to take it out. I'll go 55 miles an hour. Now I'm going to do some editing here. Stop the loop. I'm going to add. So we got Lucy's Branch Marina around 8:46, Coxie 8:49, Lester 8:51, Mount Roswell 8:52, Lawson 8:56, Bethel 8:57, 9 o'clock basically, Trinity, Athens, Tanner, and Elkmont. That's if this holds together. At some point, the atmosphere is stabilized a little bit here in North Alabama from the earlier storms. So again, we'll just have to watch with time on that. Let me go back here. So we're going to go Bethel. Now I'm going to take this out a little bit more. So now we're looking at Athens, 9 o'clock, Tanner, 9:02, Elkmont, 9:02, the Swan Creek Community, Mobile Home Park and RV area there, just to the, I think that's just to the west of I-65. Around 9:03, Decatur, 9:05, Canebrake over in Athens, southeast side of Athens, 9:05, French Mill, 9:08, Ardmore, 9:10, Greenbrier, 9:11, The Burr-Green Gin area in Madison, 913. Capshaw, Harvest, Monrovia around 913 and 915. So I'll take that down real quick. Again, we're hoping there's two things going on here. We have this rain-cool boundary that's pretty much draped here from the earlier storms. And we also have these storms down here kind of blocking some of the instability. So at some point, this should weaken as it moves east. Let me check the hail size here again. A lot of wind there coming into Vina, just southwest of you. So we're going to watch that and Red Bay. Yeah, the VIL value, we call it, the hail size parameters are starting to drop. So, I did that track. This storm may weaken before it makes its way. At least the hail producing potential is going to drop some, I think, by the time it gets to Florence. And we're continuing to see a lot of new development down here to the south at Russellville. So the more rain we can get out ahead of here, the more this is probably going to weaken this storm. Right now we're probably looking at dime to nickel size hail. But now's the time that this storm could produce a damaging microburst type wind is when you start to see the VIL value drop, the hail threat drop. That's when the storm may actually collapse as it runs into this boundary as well. So it's something to watch there. Take a look at our shoals camera, see if we see anything. Looking off to the west. Yeah, there's just going to be a lot of lightning coming in with this storm. Let me control that camera and kind of move it north so we're looking right over Florence. That is the Singing River Bridge there in the background. Oh yeah, there's a lot of lightning. Looking over the water tower there. It looks like kind of a layered shelf cloud here, so you're going to see a lot of different features here along that cloud as it comes in. But again, significant lightning coming in with this storm and the possibility of that large hail. No updates from the Weather Service, so that's good. They were monitoring a little bit of rotation with it earlier across the state line, but I think that's really kind of faded away. Yeah, this is looking like your classic look here. We've got strong gusty winds, hail size dropping a little bit. We should start getting some delayed reports from north of Cherokee down to Waterloo about the hail size there. I'm pretty sure we had hail, large hail. Now we've got this area. Let's see. I wonder if that's... Yeah, you get just to the west of Pickwick Lake here. And that's where we have the hail now. And that's going to be real close to south, ending up south of Central Heights and moving pretty much down County Road 62. And this is going to be, right now this is about 15 miles away from the Cox Creek Parkway on the north side of Florence. That's the most likely track there, and then St. Florian for the hail. But I think this is getting to the point where it may be weakening some. But we'll have to continue to watch it. A little bit of broad rotation here near Cherokee. We've got roughly this area here, but again, that's not enough for a tornado. Okay, it looks like they're going to issue another severe thunderstorm warning downstream. So we're probably going to get a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to cover Lawrence County, parts of Morgan County, and Limestone County for this storm. Wow, yeah, this is pretty nasty down here, by the way. Red Bay, Vina, Hodges, I'd stay away from your windows. Maybe get into the interior hallway. We've got winds, that says 48, but I bet they're closer to 60 miles an hour because it's moving away from the radar. We got this little thing here. That's just an odd place for that. Let me take this lightning off. Yeah, so we're starting to watch this area. I'm going to watch these merge, probably. The line is eventually going to merge with these thunderstorms down to the south. Yeah, we've got some pretty decent shear here. Track that a little bit more. Man, that lightning is really intense. Wow. Let me see if I can show that to you before it changes. Whoop, wrong camera. There's Decatur. Next time I see it, I'll pull it up there. But well, that lightning is just really intense over there west of the shoals. Yeah, it looks like that little signature's kind of dropped off a bit, but we've got some high wind. Trying to make its way up out of this other storm, and I'll go ahead and switch back after we see this last lightning here. Yeah, kind of a strobe light effect there. So here's some strong straight line wind coming towards Vina. Hodges, Phil Campbell, around 8:37, and Phil Campbell, Hackleburg, about 8:24. So again, this is mostly straight line wind here. And you get west. Still a very electrical storm near Cherokee, moving east. And there's the continuation of this warning. I guess they didn't quite go to Limestone County with that. Again, that means that they're really monitoring this for possible weakening, because we've got these thunderstorms that are firing up right in here that will likely choke things off down the road. Again, I still think we've got a severe thunderstorm here, and there's definitely really high wind coming in just south of Red Bay, moving towards Vina and Hodges. Reset the view here. And I would expect that old boundary that's drifted to the south to probably start to fire thunderstorms down here from Coleman over to Gadsden. Yep, severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to read this warning they put out. Severe thunderstorm warning, Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, and western Lawrence County in northwest Alabama. Wind gusts potentially up to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail. And this is moving, looking for the movement here. They were moving at 55 miles an hour. They've got it moving southeast at 35 miles an hour. I still think it's moving a little faster than that, unless it slows down with these other storms in the way. It's getting darker out there. It's going to be harder to see these low clouds out here. I think we catch this just in time here, maybe. Maybe. No, didn't switch fast enough. Again, back, another look at the shoals. I mentioned a layered shelf cloud. This is going to be your traditional shelf cloud that goes all the way along the leading edge of this, and then you're going to have kind of striations in it, almost like a gravity wave there. But you'll get gusty winds as this moves in. Here comes another big lightning strike. Yeah, so a powerful lightning display out there. Yeah, so again, this is all pretty much moving east, but there will be some weakening, we think, over time. But boy, that lightning just continues over there out in the shoals. Going to keep an eye on this, just kind of, I'll probably zoom in a little bit more. Whoop. That's a little too far. But you can clearly see these layers in this shelf cloud. And there's still a fairly high base on these thunderstorms. The lightning is coming down a little bit. The intensity of the lightning is down some. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out. I'm going to go south here. Yeah, there we are, in a more normal spot here. Pretty good view there. I'm going to leave that there. We're going to go back to radar. Actually, I'll just talk about it. We've got the lightning's coming down a little bit in that storm there. The most intense lightning now is coming from Hamilton and moving towards Phil Campbell. So, Phil Campbell, you got a big lightning show coming in. Check some of your questions. About 800 of you on YouTube watching. Okay, I'll do another extended storm track here in just a little bit. Yeah, I don't see a tornado threat with this tonight. I think it's mainly some hail, a lot of wind. This is developing into a complex of storms, which is typical weather for this time of year. Usually late May, early June is MCS season, mesoscale convective system season. We usually just get a lot of lightning, very heavy rain, and isolated damaging wind gusts. And that's kind of what's going on here with this area. We continue to watch it fill in. That old boundaries to the south kind of tracking northeast. And I'll give some extended storm tracks here in just a second. I'll get you back to radar. Check more questions here. Yeah, there was some wind damage. We had trees down. One fell on a home. This was over in Tishomingo County with this storm earlier. So we probably have some similar issues in western Colbert and western Lauderdale County. I'll check a few other things here real quick. Check our live feed on the WFF Facebook page. Okay, a lot of what time will it hit? Athens. Will Decatur or Mud Tavern be affected? Taft, Tennessee. Heavy rain in Red Bay. Thanks for that report, Randy. All right, let's go in here and do some storm tracks. And you know what I also want to do? I can do that here too. Let's take a look at this here. This is going to be model data. So this is kind of showing the trend here. It weakens that northern line. And this is the HRRR model. So once again, areas east, I know it's intense now moving into the shoals, but the model guidance has this weakening as it moves east. Let's take a look at the Barron model, the BAMS. See what it shows us. 3-kilometer BAMS model. It doesn't look like it's handling it very well, does it? It doesn't have anything. It's bringing more stuff in the morning. Yeah, so I'm not going to go with that one. We're going to go with the HRRR because it seems to have the best handle on what's really going on right now. But notice how it brings this more down towards Smith Lake, south of Haleyville as we go over the next hour. So that's a trend I'm going to watch here for you. And I think the air's pretty worked over in the Huntsville metro area and definitely over in far northeast Alabama. So we'll go back to current radar. So what that model data is basically saying is this area here is eventually going to track more east-southeast, but it's hard to say because it's moving northeast now. So that would be this boundary coming in is going to eventually start moving more southeast too. But there's definitely a boundary down here from Double Springs through Smith Lake that we're going to have to watch these boundary interactions, we call it. Let's go back in here. Very strong wind in Hamilton and very strong wind as you get north of Hodges. This passed through Vina. So what we're seeing here, and we're going to have to watch closely, is the interaction of this boundary here that's dropping east-southeast and this thunderstorm there. When you get these interactions, you can spin up tornadoes. So that's what we're going to watch here over the next 20 minutes or so. So let me get a storm track on here for you. This area of thunderstorms tracking east. I'm going to put it at about 49 miles an hour. So we're talking Tuscumbia, all of the shoals around 8:30, so about 8 minutes from now, it's moving in. And Russellville, 8:33, Killen, 8:34, Littleville, 8:35, Leeton, 8:43, and Lexington, 8:44. Now what I'm going to do here is take this out farther. And then I'm going to adjust the first city in here. So I'm going to put Tanner as the first city in the storm track. So we got Tanner, 920, Swan Creek area in Limestone County, 922, Canebrake, 922, Decatur, 923, French Mill, out off Highway 72 in East Limestone, 924, Harvest, 928, the Burning Tree Estates, 927, Priceville, 930, Magnolia Springs Subdivision, 930 out towards Endeavor Elementary, Capshaw, 930, Greenbrier, 931, the Burr Green Gin area. Talked a lot about that with the tornado in Madison last week. It'll be there in Madison at 9:32. Sparkman High School around 9:32 as well. Lots of lightning and thunder. Yeah, a lot of lightning west of Phil Campbell. Again, the tornado threat's low. And we do expect some general weakening here with this. The most intense thunderstorms are actually in southern Franklin County, moving towards Phil Campbell. Let's put that into motion again. That's pretty intense. So from Phil Campbell to Hackleburg down to Hamilton, this is where we're seeing the really strong wind. I'm also going to track this. It's kind of lifting northeast. So there's our challenge. We got two sets of storms. One's moving northeast for the time being. The other one's moving east and a bit southeast. So Phil Campbell, 836. Russellville, 843. Old Bethel, 901. Hatton, 906. Moulton, 912. Cortland, 920. At some point in time, though, this storm to the north is going to interact more with the storm to the south. Lightning's down a bit west of Florence. Lightning is increasing. Let's take a look at the total count here on this one particular area. 298. Yeah, that's increasing. So what we're seeing is increasing lightning strikes with these thunderstorms, and it's probably due in nature to this other one getting stronger south of it. So very intense lightning, high wind getting ready to move towards the sheriff's office. They're in Franklin County, south of Russellville on Highway 43. And we really need to watch this boundary interaction right in here as this approaches Russellville. Russellville, I think this wind's coming in. Lightning continues to increase. Take a look at storm relative velocity. That's even showing some increase. So chance for damaging winds moving through Hodges now on the way to Rockwood. And up there, on the west side of the Cedar Creek Reservoir, probably seeing wind damage in that area. So we've got high wind here and high wind here. These are two separate storms. And we've got the shear rates kind of in between the storms. But very intense lightning coming into Phil Campbell. Let's expand this view a little bit more. Boundary down towards Smith Lake's lighting up a little bit more. All right, I'm going to check YouTube Live. Wind's picking up here in Florence, almost in Killen. Thunder's picking up in the shoals. As far as DeKalb County, Henniger, Fort Payne area, this is probably going to be a 10 o'clock time frame, and hopefully it's way down by then. I don't think this can maintain itself the entire way across North Alabama, especially since we had those storms earlier. I'm going to check the Storm Prediction Center real quick, see what the atmosphere is kind of set up like. Also, just take a look at these temperatures. No reports. Yeah, so again, 66 in Fort Payne. It probably feels pretty cool over in these areas. And even at 72 in Russellville, these areas haven't warmed up much. Here's our severe thunderstorm watch. It goes until 11 o'clock tonight. There's another look at the radar. All right, that's not loading right. Kind of shift our focus back to the west and see what's going on. There's actually another boundary to the south. We just kind of have this area has a lot of development over. It's almost like we've got the old thunderstorm boundary from today colliding with the new thunderstorm boundary coming in, and that's increasing the vertical velocity here, the upward motion in the storms, and leading to all this lightning, and had some significant hail earlier. I think that hail threat's way down from what it was earlier. Yeah, it's dropping, but there's probably some pea to dime size hail moving towards Phil Campbell. Echo tops are pretty high. Some of these storms are up to 50,000 feet. That storm near Phil Campbell is 50,000 foot tops on it. Let's see here. Take a look at the winds again. Yeah, just very strong winds ripping right across Hackleburg right now. I'm going to check Birmingham chat here in just a second. Because that's the Birmingham area. Yeah, they say fairly strong wind in Marion County moving northeast through Hackleburg and Hamilton. So far, Marion County's only reported one reported trees and lines down so far. That's County Highway 33. But as these get into heavily populated areas, we're probably going to see more reports. So there's that really strong wind moving into Phil Campbell. It's in Hackleburg now. It's going to be real close to the south side of Russellville. Slow that down to about 40 miles an hour. So Rockwood 835, it's 832 now. Phil Campbell 835, Haleyville 847, Moulton 911, Speak 921. Again, that's southeast of Moulton with that. And as we go down the road here, just to give you more of a heads up, I don't want to go too far out because it's possible this could weaken. So Burning Tree Estates over in Decatur, around at 8 and 940. Hartselle 941. Decatur proper 942. Priceville 943. Falkville 947. Somerville 952. At some point, this might start turning more easterly than northeasterly. I think we're already seeing this line here have an impact because it's pushing east and slightly southeast. So I think I've seen kind of a bump to the east in the velocity here. Winds are down up here in Florence. It just looks like heavy rain. Lightning's still pretty intense here though, as this is coming in to Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals, and Florence. Probably some pea to dime size hail. I'd say a wind gust around 40 mile an hour. Back to the Huntsville chat here. So again, we're not getting any reports of damage, so that's some good news so far. We're going to find out here real soon as this moves into Florence and the rest of the shoals. Let's expand this view here. Getting a little bit more rain up towards Newmarket on the east side of Huntsville. The more storms we get out ahead of this main line, the better, because that's what's going to weaken this more. But boy, just nasty wind right in here. Very strong wind. This is moving a little more east. So we're going to know, we should get reports out of Phil Campbell and Hackleburg. I'm going to go ahead and check my page as well. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that velocity on there. That's kind of the most important thing there. Max wind gust, according to Tennessee Valley Weather, in Cherokee, it's 45 miles per hour. So we've had 45 mile per hour wind gust in Cherokee, but again, that's far removed from that glowing area of pink and purple. Probably going to get a lot of trees down with that storm, northeast of Hamilton, right on the Marion County, Franklin County line. Again, I'll check our comments over here. Someone says they can barely hear me. You may have to restart the Facebook Live on your page in some cases. It looks like that's delayed somehow. Yeah, Dwayne says, I've been working for my pay lately. Yeah, I think we got 100 hours in this week. The Jubilee fireworks in Decatur at 8:30. I bet they want to get them lit as soon as they can. I'm going to take a look at the camera over there. Face our camera the other way. Yeah, I'm seeing them. They're going off over there. Here's Decatur. So you've got fireworks and lightning. Again, this is over at the Jubilee in Decatur. Get a good indication of the wind direction here. Picking up out of the south. This storm moving into Decatur. I'd say as early as about 9:20, so it's about 45 minutes away. So again, that is Decatur tonight. Always love going there. Been there before on my boat, and the challenge is going to become for boaters trying to get back, because the marina is all up on the north side of Decatur, and you get past the bridge, so it becomes kind of a challenge to get on your boat, get out before the storms move in. But again, this will move into Decatur around 9:24, Hartselle 9:26, Falkville 9:30, Greenbrier 9:34, and Somerville around 9:35. Again, we're tracking strong gusty winds with this. So far, not seeing any tornadic circulations with this. And again, the threat for tornadoes is really low. It's just going to have to be like a storm environment. Okay. For some reason. Okay, that's YouTube. Waiting for YouTube to catch up. I've joined YouTube way behind here. Live. Okay, I've caught up. Barton power out and Pride Landing powers out over there. Thanks. Hartselle, this will be moving in around 9:30. All right. It's hard to tell you the exact impacts we expect down the road here because we're not sure this line's going to hold together. We've seen a real weakening up here with the wind in the Florence area. And the biggest wind is over here in Phil Campbell. So this is probably knocking some trees down from Phil Campbell to Hackleburg over to Haleyville. And this is going to go across the Bankhead National Forest as well. The north side here south of Moulton. Again, watching this area south of Russellville near Rockwood, this is where you're getting this interaction between the thunderstorm. There's two boundary interactions here. And that is likely the only way we would have a concern for tornadoes, would be these boundary interactions. And we're going to have to watch that shear right there too. Yeah, that wind is starting to shift more to the east with the Phil Campbell storm. something we've been hoping for. What about Athens? Futurecast. Let's go to Futurecast. Show you that real quick. So what the models are saying is pay attention to this area near Haleyville. That was around 8 o'clock. They lift that northeast initially, and then they drive it east and southeast. So according to the model guidance, all this is going to die out quickly before making its way into Decatur, Huntsville, Meridianville, Athens, Scottsboro, and Albertville. And we're going to see a distinct shift here in the next 30 minutes to the east and then southeast. That's kind of what we've been expecting. So Smith Lake gets hammered here around 9:15, 9:30. So this, again, on the model guidance, this area here at some point begins to take a turn to the east and then southeast. Still got to watch this Rockwood area. So the worst of the wind is south of Russellville right now, south of Waco, Newburgh, Churntown. Let's see what those speeds are. 58, it's probably closer to 60, maybe 65. So we're going to have to watch this closely, at least for the next 25, 30 minutes. Wow, winds really increased there northwest of Haleyville. Man, lightning's really, this is the strongest storm right here. Phil Campbell to south to Haleyville. Well, we're probably seeing 70-mile-an-hour winds. 86 miles per hour, wow. That is significant wind down there. So damage is likely. That's mobile home damaging wind right there. Environmental winds ahead of the line at UNA over in the shoals, northerly. So, very strong wind here, just northwest of Haleyville, between there and Phil Campbell. Let me check the... Significant wind, Hackleburg, Haleyville, south of Phil Campbell, and that is going to get close to Moulton. Notice the shift here, a big time shift to the east. Kind of got it. Almost a debris signature, but it's hard to tell with that. I think there's some contamination in the data in here. I'm going to take this back. Look how that storm's just ramped up there. It's like the outflow from the north storms kind of caught up. That's just significant wind here. And go back with the shear rate. So you can, the shear rate actually shows these boundaries pretty well. And the shift to the south. Look at this debris signature. Over here. This would have been earlier near Vina. And a lot of times you get significant wind and you can pull up leaves off trees and stuff like that. Definitely an eastward shift here. So the model guidance is kind of trending in that direction. So, and there's another boundary in here. We'll have to watch that too. And check Birmingham. That's their area. See if they've got any damage reports. Nope, nothing out of there. If this follows more of an east-southeast track, this is going to be moving over time. It's probably going to be kind of doing one of these. So we watched Falkville 933, Coleman 942, Eva 943. Just on the north side of Smith Lake here in Addison around 918. Lightning's down a little bit, but still got a lot of lightning in Tuscumbia, heavy rain. But by far, they've trimmed back the warning in northern Lauderdale County. And at some point, this is probably going to encounter the more stable air. And I think that more stable air is pretty much north of this line here. Because this looks like the old outflow boundary from earlier today's storms. So we may get, if this has a lot of momentum with it, we may get some like gravity wave kind of winds as it kind of falls apart. I don't see any tornadoes right now, so that's good. But there's a lot of wind here in this purple. Let's see what lake that is. Little Bear Creek coming through there. So we got Little Bear Creek. Imagine this. Yeah, that's it right in here. So some of the highest winds are in this area. Southeast of Phil Campbell. Starting to turn east. So let me storm track this just a little bit farther than what I had earlier. We're going to go basically along Highway 24, and we're going to move it this way. But keep in mind, it could drop south and it could weaken. It's going to hit this stable or air, more stable air at some point. So Moulton 909, Speak 916, Hartselle 932, Falkville 933, West Point 934, Burning Tree Estates in Decatur, south side of Decatur 935, Priceville 938, South Vinemont 941, Somerville 943, and Eva and 944. Again, that's a potential for these damaging winds. And there's a lot of lightning with that too. Lightning's going way down in northern Lauderdale County. Let's turn that lightning off. So we've just got a big convergence of boundaries from Florence down here to the south. And then we've got the main line, and then we've got this other area here. So it's a very classic pattern of heavy rain. Wind velocity's down a little bit, but man, that's still a nasty storm. Let me check in over here. Again, checking YouTube comments. Some of them aren't so pleasant. Oh, thank you. I would say the Huntsville metro area is probably most likely going to be dealing with just heavy rain, gusty winds. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue. Okay. Outflow boundary from the Mississippi storms has undercut the Pickens County cell and should begin to weaken behind the outflow boundary, but we'll keep watching. Yeah, for my sanity, don't check the comments. I usually don't, especially after the storms. Wind near Haleyville looks significant. Still expecting some trees down as it clips Winston and moves into Lawrence County. Oh, someone's looking at the algo camera in Haleyville. That gives me an idea. Let's go check algo. They said it doesn't look fun. Let me turn this lightning off so you can see it better. We're starting to see this wind die down. It's not as bad as it was. Of course, it gets a little farther away from the radar site, too. Let me check that. Marion County cameras. That just looks like rain. Haleyville cameras. Says no cameras. Oh well. We tried. By the time it gets to Marshall County, I think a lot of this will weaken. It's weakening now, as you just saw the last frame there. Power's out 2 Mile and Marion County out in Haleyville. 2 miles from Haleyville. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. No, we're not on live TV. We haven't broken into programming. We're not going to break into programming for these thunderstorms unless it gets a lot worse. We don't have any tornado threat here going on. A lot of wind, and the wind's starting to fade a little bit here. A little bit of a bowing segment here. Wind is probably increasing in Muscle Shoals, 72 and 43. You kind of see that little blip here south of Tuscumbia. It's just strong wind coming in. It kind of bows out here. Let me go ahead and storm track this area for you. Roughly right in here. But we've got a lot of rain developing ahead of this line, and that's really good news. And not that we need more rain, but it helps stabilize the atmosphere. So Muscle Shoals moving through now. Section 910. I don't know why section is showing up here. Why is that showing up? I think it's got section in the wrong spot. Let me see this. I'm going to set up. Oh, I know why. It's got longitude, latitude at 0. That's weird. Let me delete that and make a new one. That shows up again. I don't know what's going on over here. Let's see here. I must have it in here somewhere else, and I'll have to take care of that later. I don't think I've got all these towns in here. sections way east of here. They don't have a simple search for me. So, Town Creek, 917. North Cortland, 923. Cortland, 925. Joe Wheeler State Park, 927. Again, a lot of people camping this weekend. Lucy's Branch Marina, 934. Rogersville, 930. And Coxie around 930 as well. But boy, this is really filling in. I think your threat for severe weather is going to be over here pretty soon in Florence. Very heavy rain. This wind's dying down some. Yeah, this area on the back edge there, Muscle Shoals. Power's out in Russellville. Thanks. Power outages, Bear Creek area, Pickens County. Trees and power lines down in Colbert County, Cherokee. Let's see if they're going to do a downstream warning. Morgan County, in about 10 minutes, you'll probably go under severe thunderstorm warning. But the back edge here near Muscle Shoals, we've got some strong winds there. Right there at the intersection again at 43 and 72. Moving towards Leeton. Again, that's just the back edge of this thunderstorm as it moves through. Up towards Anderson along the state line, none of that severe. Doesn't look so anyway. But very intense lightning here. There's that wind. It continues to move towards Moulton and around Speak. We got Mount Hope in here. Mount Hope, Landersville, Muck City, Hickory Grove. This is going to be along County Road 17, County Road 58. Isolated damaging winds. There have been power outages associated with this storm. They could be wind related, but they could also be lightning related. Very intense lightning right here east of Phil Campbell. Wow. Haven't had any hail reports, but earlier it certainly looked like we probably had a lot of hail. Let's see the latest from the Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Limestone County, southeastern Colbert County, northwestern Coleman County, eastern Franklin County, western Morgan County, and Lawrence County. Just before 9 o'clock, severe thunderstorms are located in a line extending from near Littleville to near Ash Ridge, moving east at 35. The hazard is 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Expects tree damage, damage to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. That's what this storm, the worst of it, is just to the west of Moulton. They've extended this down into Coleman County again. But the warnings are kind of shifting very subtly to the south. It is now 9 o'clock. We are really transitioning to just strong gusty winds with this storm. We're not going to get any reports most likely here in southern Lawrence County as you get into the Bankhead National Forest. For those down there on Smith Lake, enjoying your holiday weekend. The worst of the wind is from Lind up to Double Springs. This is approaching Arley. But overall, this is weakening some as it moves east. So there's our radar. I'm going to just kind of leave it there. I'm going to get me some water. Take a look at the YouTube page. Shoals rocking and rolling. Oh, I'm in covering the holiday weekend. They let me have 1 day off after being on 10 days. Trying to find my water. I'll be back. So right now we just have severe thunderstorm warnings. Not seeing any signs of tornadoes in there. Intense lightning. Yeah, this storm's rocking and rolling there in Lawrence County. Moving into Decatur, moving into Huntsville. Probably a line of boats leaving Point Mallard to the Brickyard Marina and Riverwalk Marina. And it's moving in. It's hitting hard. Man, your comments on YouTube are worse than Facebook, brother. Haley expecting restoration of power by 11 p.m. Raining really hard in Tuscumbia, thunder and lightning. Let me check our WFF page. A lot of wind getting ready to move into Moulton, Double Springs. The storm is not as bad up here towards Florence as it was earlier. We still don't have any significant wind reports. You're going to get your sporadic tree damage, things like that. Check in again. A lot of people still want to know about Somerville and Falkville. A straight line wind kind of night. Highway 72 west to Tuscumbia at the Co-op. Just rain and some lightning and thunder. As far as going to bed, I mean, I would. But I've got a weather radio, so that's the thing. We don't expect tornadoes tonight. I continue to see the potential that this is going to weaken some as it tracks east, but we've got a lot of rain, strong gusty winds, and there's going to be sporadic power outages here. I'm going to switch radars. I'm going to go to the high top radar. You can see the high top radar kind of focusing in these strong winds moving into Moulton. So we're kind of at that area where it overlaps. So I'll go to Birmingham radar. It doesn't show anything. It's too far away. It shows rain, of course. Again, no twisting wind in these. Strong winds. A lot of these are aloft, though. They're up above the ground. So again, we just kind of shift between radars. This is going to have the better view down here towards Double Springs. A lot of lightning. The lightning's fading a little bit here. Storms picking up in Decatur. Boy, this whole area has just expanded in the last 30 minutes right here. So this is the kind of summertime thunderstorm is coming into Decatur. Probably going to get some street flooding. Flood prone in some of these areas when we get this really heavy rain. So again, a lot of this heavy rain. It's about to encounter the rain-cooled air that was laid down by the thunderstorms we had earlier today. A lot of lightning. Again, this is kind of what we expected. Strong gusty winds, frequent lightning. I think we're going to see a kind of a downward trend on the winds. I think the wind speeds in these storms are going to drop about 5 mile an hour every 20 minutes. So we may be looking at 60 mile an hour winds now. We're probably going to be looking at 45 mile per hour wind by the time this moves into the Huntsville metro area. But very heavy rain. Still a little bit stormier down towards Smith Lake. Get my bottled water out of the way. Allergy season and severe weather season. They always come at the same time. Can I show you what part of the storm will hit Albertville? I honestly can't show you the exact part because it's not all going to be the same storm as it comes in. In Albertville and down here from Arab South, there's a boundary from the earlier storms that's kind of lifting north. So you're probably going to get some action here from this that won't be severe. That's coming in. But boy, Lawrence County is just covered up with heavy rain and lightning. Looks like you're probably all clear in Florence. I mean, still some gusty winds here, lightning, but the rain's coming in, so that's pretty much it. Check the chat. What time from Madison? All right, Nancy, give me a sec. Check all my weather service offices. Discussing possibly canceling the severe thunderstorm watch for the Tennessee counties early. How much time before the bulk of this hits Point Mallard? Yeah, I should have been leaving. It's moving in now. The worst of the wind, I mean, this is coming into Point Mallard now. So, again, the challenge here is people with their boats. You got Point Mallard here where the fireworks display was. You're going to get in your boat and hightail it up here to either go to the Brickyard Landing or the Riverwalk Marina. Right there. In fact, I'm going to see if I'm going to dial this up on the camera and see if I can see boats coming in. Where that is. Okay. See a lot of cars. Don't see too many boats out there. Maybe they are. I mean, I've been in that race to get back to Brickyard Landing in my boat before. Don't see anybody out there. I'll keep an eye on it though. But yeah, the lightning's starting to pick up there in Decatur. I mean, that's usually your number one indicator that you've got to get off the water. Huh. Let's see. Here's Decatur. There's lightning galore in Decatur right now, off to the west. We picked this spot here. The camera's on the other side to get a good shot of the river. It's kind of tough to view everything out west, but we've got a shelf cloud out here most likely as that rain advances in. I don't see any severe wind gusts coming into Decatur at the moment. The highest wind is just west of you on 24 in around Moulton. Again, looking out towards the river. Don't really see any boats out here. That's good. But if they've stayed, I mean, some people, they go out off Point Mallard and they'll just stay in their boats. I mean, when I had my boat, I'd go out there, and some people just stay the whole weekend there. They just anchor down. Of course, you get some of the bigger boats, and they can handle some of the rougher weather. But it's when you get 60-mile-an-hour winds coming through, that creates a huge problem. So the highest wind is over here towards Moulton. I'm going to turn the lightning off. Just so you can kind of see this wind moving into Moulton. So we're going to know pretty soon if we've got damaging winds, because we'll probably start to get some reports out of Lawrence County. And specifically in Moulton. I know we've probably got a lot of you watching from Moulton here tonight. Yeah, they're definitely anchored out there. I had a boat. But and I sold it. You know, the kids didn't want to go out on it anymore. It was a nice ski boat. But then I decided I needed a fishing boat. And since then, I've decided I don't need a boat payment. So, Owens Cross, I always get the, is it safe to go to bed? I mean, get a weather radio, and then you probably won't, it'll wake you up if you need to be woke up in the middle of the night. And that's the thing about weather radios is the new ones, you can say, I only want a tornado warning. That way you can go to bed, and if it goes off, it means there's a tornado warning for your county anyway. And that's the best advice I can give you. Is it still safe to ride the fair rides? Oh, they've got that. Let me take a look at this. I'll switch you guys back to radar. Again, we should know pretty soon if we got severe wind, because that's moving into Moulton. Let's check out the fair at the ballpark. At least it hasn't been a boring week at work. I'm going to turn over the camera there. You know, it's like they've still got the rides going over there at Toyota Field. Let me see if I can pull that camera up for you guys. I'll time this out to Madison here in a little bit. Yeah, you can get a pretty good view of that lightning from the top of the Ferris wheel. Again, this is over at Toyota Field. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are checking the weather app and they're like, yeah, we probably need to get out of here. A few cars leaving. Again, look off in the distance. And yeah, I don't know how long that fair goes, but again, they're out there. Let's put some more storm tracks on here for you. Yeah, the highest wind is in around Moulton and just to the north near Hatton. There's no twisting wind, but boy, there's some pretty high wind right here. East of Hatton. This is going to be Highway 157, County Road 284. I believe that's Mount Moriah. Cleveland Springs. Coming in there to Caddo and Trinity. Let me loop that. We have a fairly sustained wind that's been in here for a while. Let me move that east-northeast. So that moves into Toyota Field at 10:05, so about 50 minutes from now. That's if it's going 39 mile an hour. It may accelerate. So we got Trinity at 9:31, Decatur 9:39, Priceville 9:43, Greenbrier 9:55, Mill Creek Elementary area in Madison 10:03, Marshall Space Flight Center 10:05, Bridge Street 10:12, And Grissom High School around 10:11. So that is high wind coming in. It's kind of bowing out a little bit too, so man, I think that's moving faster than sure looks like it. Let's see here. Not getting any shear indicators here, so that's good. Oh, there we go. Here was some wind. See what that says. Oh, this was earlier. This 6 miles north-northeast of Leeton. That was at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So was this here, near Leicester. And this was recently, this was 7:46, tree down on a home. But that we haven't had any reports since then. I don't know what I did to turn that off. I've clicked something that I can't get off the screen. Let's see. Turn it off right there. There we go. That was my... So as we kind of shift down here towards Tuscaloosa, strong gusty winds. So we're seeing this southward shift here, this big complex of storms to our east, our west. We've got a bowing segment in here, so we got damaging wind potential moving through Moulton. I think this is moving faster. I think this is moving at about 47 miles an hour or so. I think that's faster than the warning has. So there's an updated track for you. Huntsville around 9:48, Mill Creek Elementary 9:52. Again, it's hard to do a storm track with Huntsville in it because Huntsville's everywhere now. They've taken over. Oh, thank you, Julie. Let's see. I'm going to check YouTube again if I dare, the comments. Limestone is not looking bad. It's along 565 that it may be worse as far as this particular storm goes. Going to drop a new warning for Coleman County. Again, we're not seeing any significant wind damage reports, so some of this may be elevated. All right, back to the radar. Lightning's really picking up on the west side of Decatur. But again, lightning is not an indicator of severe weather, so just keep that in mind. You can have a lot of lightning, but again, you can have homes hit by lightning, power lines hit by lightning, power outages due to lightning. The highest wind is now right over, speaking of power, near Joe Wheeler Electric here off Highway 24. So we've got just south of Highway 24, a little area called Pittsburgh, and then Kitchens Mill, County Road 87, moving towards Pleasant Hill Road. Let's see how high this wind is. About 60. That'll do some tree damage. So the highest wind is coming in from the west, southwest. Again, this wind here is elevated, which means it's above the ground. But we have this area of the storm kind of doing this bowing area. So you get the maximum wind, kind of a rear inflow jet coming in. So we're going to know pretty soon as this moves into Decatur. Let me track the highest wind here. I'm going to shift this just a little bit east. So Trinity, here in about 8 minutes. Hartselle 936, Decatur 936, Priceville 938, Somerville 946. Again, this is when we expect the most intense wind. It's possible it's going to weaken some as it moves farther east. The lightning's still going to be pretty intense. Toyota Field just before 10 o'clock. Marshall Space Flight Center at 10. Madison around 10:01. Lacey's Spring 10:01. Grissom High School area 10:05. Bridge Street Town Center 10:08. Very heavy rain, frequent lightning. The lightning's dropping though. There's just a lot of it. We may be getting more cloud to cloud, intercloud lightning. On up towards Cortland, severe threats over Killen, Florence, Tuscumbia, Russellville, Phil Campbell. You can see another boundary kind of lighting up here near Newmarket and Hazel Green. Yeah, Caddo, you're going to see some strong gusty winds come in. Well, let me get down there in Coleman in just a second. I think, again, a lot of this wind's probably aloft since we're not getting a lot of reports yet. And the winds in their warning are down about 10 miles an hour. So they started out at 70, now they're down to 60. And we're probably realistically looking at 50 mile per hour winds in here. So as we get down here south towards Coleman County and Smith Lake, I'm actually going to switch to Birmingham. That's not showing a whole lot. We got a lot of 40 to 50 mile an hour wind in here. Very heavy rain. Again, this is all shifting east. I continue to see a weakening trend here with all of this. I think by 10 o'clock, we'll probably be down to one severe thunderstorm warning, especially if we don't get any reports out of Decatur with this as it comes in. For some of you, just a nice lightning show. Some heavy rain. This is, I think after tonight, this will become the 4th wettest May on record here in North Alabama. Okay, I'm watching for flooding there on the Beltline. And you guys have your own conversation going on YouTube. I love it though. All right. Again, I'm checking my phone, the radar. I use radar scope on the phone. Sometimes you can just see details a little bit better on there. Wind is coming in. We're kind of seeing this easterly shift. You can see the satellite. Let me pull that back up behind me real quick here. You can see with these complexes of storms, they're just huge. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to go back here. Actually, I'm going to show you that there. So what we have is we've got this huge complex of storms coming in, and then there's another one back here in Oklahoma. So let me kind of full screen that for you here. That'll be tomorrow's fun. All these are blowing up, and that's the challenge, is this continuation of thunderstorms. And see, this is really diving south, and it's leaving a lot of the momentum with the storms in North Alabama. So these will slowly continue to fade away over the next hour. I don't think there's a big concern here in Jackson, DeKalb, or Marshall County, especially the eastern part of Marshall County. Let me show you. This is a different way to look at some of this model guidance. You can see our thunderstorm fuel here, and you can see the instability dropping, that initial line of thunderstorms. This model's off because it says we don't have any instability right now. But as we go into tomorrow, again, this area in blue, those are thunderstorms. I just changed the color palette. I think we're going to see more thunderstorm activity in the afternoons, kind of like today with storms firing up around 3 in the afternoon for your Memorial Day plans. And then they may increase a little bit here by 8, 9 o'clock in northeast Alabama. Let me show you another model here without all that stuff on it. So this, again, the models are never going to be 100% accurate, as we know this year. So here's tomorrow morning. It's just going to be cloudy, and then thunderstorm chances come back. So more strong storms coming in during the afternoon. And, you know, the shape of this looks like isolated damaging winds possible again. And this kind of has a, we'll have to watch this in Marshall County. It's kind of got this bookend vortex kind of look. But again, that's model data. It doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's go back to radar. Okay, so another thing let's talk about. Let's go to another model. Yeah, we're really starting to see this fan out. So this is good news here. This means I'll probably get to go home tonight after the 10 o'clock news. Heavy rain, gusty winds moving into Decatur. Maybe a brief isolated damaging wind gust. So let's go over here. I'm going to go. Actually, I want to do Barron 3K. Let's do updraft helicity. This is actually updraft helicity. No, that's actually lightning. So let me go in here and change this. So we'll get into tomorrow. It kind of shows a little bit here. But I think this is just strong storms, the possibility of some hail. Anytime you warm up that much, this time of year, you got that much humidity in the air, there's always that chance. All right, let's check back in with the weather service here real quick. Good news, no reports. Again, we had no tornado reports from earlier today when we were in continuous coverage at mainly Tennessee and then Jackson, DeKalb County. A lot of scud clouds out there. There's just a lot of lowering of the clouds, a lot of look-alike wall clouds. Power's flashing off and on in Hillsboro, raining like crazy in Hartselle, heavy rain in Caddo. The Chase area, yeah, you're going to see these thunderstorms are coming right up 565, so that'll probably move in by 10 o'clock. The wind has arrived in Kitchens Mill. Back to YouTube comments. Has anybody found Reed Timmer's parachute? He's been looking for that. Launched it into that tornado in Madison. Hasn't seen it since. At least I haven't seen an update on that. We're really starting to see the warnings. We may see the last warning of the day here for this storm. There's no reports coming in. I think these will probably be handled with special weather statements. Let me check Birmingham again. Yeah, everything's going to start shifting south. All right, let's see when that warning is supposed to expire. 9:45 p.m. 15 more minutes on this warning. I think they'll let it go because I just don't see any high-end wind here. Even this strong wind coming into Decatur's dropping. So we probably have winds approaching the belt line around 40 miles an hour. That says 50, but that's still above the ground. So a lot of lightning, heavy rain from Decatur to Priceville to Huntsville. This all continues to move to the east. I do need to update our website here. I think it's still got Jeff's forecast on it. But again, overall, I'm seeing what I thought we would see, and that is a weakening trend. We definitely have a lot of thunderstorm activity, but this whole area is just gusty winds, frequent lightning, and heavy rain. This is moving into the Huntsville metro area pretty much now because it's expanded to the west so much. But Somerville, a lot of lightning there. Hartselle, Priceville, Danville, down to Coleman, rocking down there at Smith Lake. A lot of lightning, thunder, and still some gusty winds from Cortland to Decatur. Athens, that's not a severe thunderstorm there, and just rain. And I think it's going to be one of those nights where you just continue to hear the thunder rumbling and just rolling because the acoustics are really good. So that's what happens behind these complexes. You just get lightning and thunder that continues, and it's quite impressive when you get these big, again, this is a summertime complex of storms, basically. Quick look at your 10-day forecast if you're not going to stay up late. I don't blame you. So 78 tomorrow, 80 Tuesday, 82 Wednesday. We are finishing May just the way we started May. This pattern just does not want to break down. A lot of you wanted to spend time at the pool this weekend, lake, and you probably did. I mean, we said it wasn't going to rain all weekend, and it certainly hasn't, but we've had periods of exciting weather. They'll call it that way. Maybe next week we get a better shot. But strong gusty winds continue here for Decatur, Cortland, Trinity, moving towards Tanner, out by the Buc-ee's, off I-65. Okay. Let me check my email too. Sometimes I get reports there. Yeah, I saw that Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty died today. My son sent me that message. Sad news there. All right. Let me try to find our web story. There it is. I'm just going to update. Add me. I need to go ahead and save this image, so pardon me, I just showed it to you earlier. Alrighty, replace. Again, for those just joining, I'm kind of quiet. I'm updating our web page here real quick. Multitasking. Almost done. Save. All right, so basically more scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow after this round comes through tonight. Oh, they're going to issue another severe thunderstorm warning. Again, I'm surprised. Usually this gets prolonged sometimes. There's nothing severe here. Again, a special weather statement would cover this just fine. So your weather radio is probably going to go off in Huntsville now, the rest of Morgan County. Still a bit of the Boeing segment here moving into Decatur, but I just don't think it's a severe wind gust. Still raining in the shoals. We can go to Decatur here. That's where the storm is right now. Yeah, definitely a lot of lightning. Let's see if there's any boats still out there. Torrential rain. So what I'm going to do here is zoom into where we can see some trees. And these trees are barely moving. I'm sure they'll pick up once that back edge of that storm gets in there, but that's what we're going to watch for here. According to the radar, yeah, the winds are just keep fading here. And there's the new warning. They've issued this all the way into Jackson County. Man. Again, I don't think this is a severe thunderstorm anymore. We get a lot of warnings, folks. At times, I think we are overwarned. And every storm system that comes through has to basically have a name. Yeah, some of these trees are barely moving. A lot of lightning, though. But once again, lightning is not a severe criteria, oddly enough. I almost think it should be, though. I'm going to get another view. Again, I'm trying to find some trees that might tell me the wind speed here, since we don't have anemometers on our cameras because they're the first thing that fail, and you're constantly going out to repair them. I'd say we got winds around 15 miles an hour here. If you guys got something else, let me know there. If you're watching from Decatur, any reports you can pass along. I got Alabama Skywarn just coming off the river with the rescue squad. Want to get an idea on the weather. All right, gonna go check my messages here. Heavy rain, frequent lightning. I'm excited. God. I don't have anything downstairs. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right. I tell you, YouTube comments are worse than... Yeah, Sam doesn't agree either. You could probably put your trampoline back down. I had that picture earlier on my Facebook page. Shonda Poe. But again, here's that new severe thunderstorm warning. I don't think, I mean, it's a really big one too. This is the least likely area to see severe weather right now because of the storms you had earlier today. Again, we are an overwarned society. Man. All right. We will not be breaking into program for this. I got the newscast coming up here in about 18 minutes. And then I will likely be getting out of here after the 10 o'clock news. This is doing as expected right now. Hail size for Huntsville, pea size at most. And I bet the warning says 3/4 inch hail because, see, that's the challenge. I'll read this warning because they're all kind of boilerplate warnings. I think it actually says less than 3/4 inch. At 9:37, severe thunderstorms located along a line extending from near Tanner to Falkville. Large hail, damaging wind, and continuous cloud-to-ground lightning are occurring. Again, I don't see large hail at all. Let me look at the VIL value here. Yeah, there's not large hail with this storm, period. Pea size, maybe. But the vertically integrated, the VIL value has just completely dropped. And I don't see these getting stronger. They're really dropping off. Let's see, 911 call center in Haleyville. Several trees down in the western part of Haleyville. So again, that was earlier. Got another one, 911 call. Numerous trees were down in the Bear Creek and Hackleburg area, resulting in power outages. So these are those delayed reports when the storm was really intense back here in Haleyville. But isolated damaging wind possible along I-65 down into Coleman County. And I mean isolated. The wind isn't even blowing in Decatur on our camera right now. Yeah, max hail size less than 3/4 of an inch. So it's not severe warned for hail. It's just wind. I sound exhausted. It's been a long week. It has been a long week. I had 2 13-hour shifts back to back. And I worked 10 straight days. We have hired a new weekend meteorologist, though. But she won't be here until the middle of July. So extra shifts for everybody. Okay, Morgan County EMA says some trees down so far, but unsure exactly where. Priceville getting a strong storm now. Yeah, it's moving in. Nothing on shear rate. Again, this storm's just continued to move east into a more stable environment. Rain and thunder out there. Good sleeping weather in Florence and Russellville right now. EMA says Barely Bridge and Perry Anders. I wonder if she meant Barkley Bridge. That'd be Hartselle. Ham radio operators reporting power out in parts of Hartselle. I bet that's Barkley Bridge and Perry Anders. So let's go there. Get into Hartselle. It's going to be Barkley Bridge. I think it's one of these roads here. There's Barkley Bridge. Huckleberry Bridge. Perry Anders. That's going to be by Guy Roberts. Maybe this is it here. Yep, this is where we have a report of some wind damage. Perry Anders Road and Barkley Bridge. Let's take a look at velocity. Let's see what went through there. I'm gonna go back here, and my guess is gonna be lightning strike. Because I don't see high wind moving through there, but there are lightning strikes in this area. Boom, right there, that one. About 9:40 p.m. So again, that's the challenge when you start getting damage reports, especially when there are trees down, things like that. Very possible this was a lightning strike. But, you know, you get some strong gusty winds in these areas too, just due to the fact that the soil is just saturated out there. All right. A lot of lightning south of I-565 and Madison, yep. I mean, the mobile home, the whole challenge with the mobile home right now is you never know when there's like a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust that's going to come and knock a tree over. I think your mobile home itself, depending on how many trees you have around it, but that's the most difficult question to answer. How can you tell the difference between funnel clouds and scud clouds? Well, the scud cloud, I mean, the thing about today is we just had so much water in the air, you could see every movement. Basically, you look at radar and say, does it back up a possible tornado? And today it really didn't. And I saw, and that's the other thing, is you're getting all these reports coming to the Weather Service about a wall cloud here, a wall cloud there. These spin-up tornadoes usually don't have a wall cloud. It'll be a very brief 1 to 2 minute ordeal. And you get to see all the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, with these storms when you have this much water in the air. You have to co-locate that cloud with the rotating mesocyclone. We got about 10 more minutes. Nolan, how's it going?
It is going good, sir.
I let you work a little bit at 5 today. I was like, this guy's worked all day for this 5 o'clock newscast. We'll get at least 10 minutes in.
We appreciate that.
Is it going to get bad? I mean, there's a lot of lightning coming in, and a lot of these questions are very vague. Is it going to get bad here? I mean, your version of bad may be different than mine. Is it going to get severe? Probably not. I'm not seeing anything severe whatsoever with this storm that we have right now. So again, I don't think there's anything really to be too concerned with. We've got the warning out. And this becomes the challenge is you get so many warnings issued and nothing happens for your location that you ignore the next warning. Because severe thunderstorm warnings should be taken seriously, and there's no doubt about it. But the challenge is this one's probably not going to do any damage. And then the next one that comes through might, and you're like, well, it was just a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see if we got any more damage. Got 158 people without power in the West Morgan area. Again, we can have power outages due to lightning strikes. We still have 1,100 on YouTube. Maybe a slight increase in the potential for some pea-sized hail north of Eva. Looking at a few other things here. I'm going to go back over to Decatur and look at our camera there. Yeah, the trees still are not moving at all on our camera. Yeah, latest message from the Weather Service. Generally seeing a weakening trend. We'll keep the warning for now, but watching to see if we feel comfortable letting it go. So I got a feeling this will be the last warning of the day. Do they have me starting on the wall or here? Let me get my IFB in.
It says Weather Center.
Okay, so I'll be over here. I will be shutting down the stream here in a few as we go to our 10 o'clock news. Stevenson, I think you guys can go to bed. Check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me check my batteries. 50%? Oh, I'm in good shape.
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's still a severe thunderstorm.
Well, I'll keep it live here. I guess we'll keep the radar going. You just see the radar and me. Hear my voice and see the radar. Is 19 off the air? Let me check. Man, I missed the hockey game today. Oh, it's still going on, I think. Oh, I recorded it, so I'll be able to watch it. I didn't see the end of the Indy 500. Let's go live. Oh, they're on. I don't know what that comment was for. Oh, okay. Yeah, Chris, the weather's been wild this year. It's probably one of the most active Mays. You know, last year we had that outbreak of tornadoes. I think it was May 8th or May 9th.
I was sitting on the other side, so I don't cover it.
Let me get my show together here real quick. I'm actually going to move this. Move Weather 48 to radar. So all you're going to see is radar. I'll talk about a few other things, but yeah, windy with close lightning there in Madison. Yeah, you can see the lightning all the way from Scottsboro now. Let me do 3-day forecast. What's on our air right now?
I think How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon? Oh, it sounded like Jurassic Park. I was like, it sounds like Jurassic Park.
Well, see how much I watched.
Is that severe weather full screen graphic? Is that our font? That doesn't look like our font style. Yeah. Okay, well, it just doesn't look like the gray 1 format.
There's MGN here at the bottom of the corner.
MGN?
MGN. Back to the Future.
What do I got, a minute here? Well, I meant a minute for my hit. All right. Yes, looks like this is probably going to be the last warning of the night, folks. A gust of 38 miles an hour in Madison, so. Severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for eastern Lawrence County. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect elsewhere.
Do we only have one thunderstorm warning in effect now?
Yeah,
Just the one?
it'll probably be canceled early. We've had a wind gust of 38 miles mile an hour in Madison. That's about it, though. Yeah, this area here is probably 30, maybe 40 mile an hour wind. And that's moving into Huntsville. That's what's left of that whole area that was coming out of Haleyville. And there's also a little peak of wind here. Looks like it's close to Valormosa Springs. Yep, right over Valormosa Springs. You're probably seeing a wind gust 35, 40 mile an hour, moving into Lacey Spring and close to Ditto Landing. Eventually Owens Crossroads. Lots of good advice on YouTube tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You kept me entertained. We are just a few seconds out from the 10 o'clock news. Oh, you're welcome, Apollo. Still over 1,000 people on Facebook. Appreciate you sticking around. Can you go to sleep in Madison? Yes. Russellville PD reporting power outages and phone issues. Again, these are just some strong thunderstorms out there right now.
Tonight at 10, one man is dead and another is hurt after a shooting in Huntsville. What we've learned from police and what neighbors heard. Plus, attention Huntsville drivers, officers have set up DUI checkpoints, hoping they don't have a repeat of last year. And we are on your side with where in the Tennessee Valley you can take part in the true meaning of Memorial Day.
You're watching WAFF 48 News at 10 on your side.
Good evening, thank you for joining us. I'm Nolan Crane. We begin tonight with the weather, where it's been an active weekend of severe weather. And there's still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect tonight that we are monitoring closely. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. Brad, you have been joining us and you have been following these storms all day. What's the latest?
Things are starting to wind down, and we've got that one warning you mentioned. They're probably going to cancel that early. As we go to the radar, we're just looking at some strong thunderstorms. Just had a wind gust of 38 miles per hour in the city of Madison, and that's moving into East Limestone and the west side of Huntsville right now. Also towards Valor-Mosa Springs, we've got a little blip here with probably a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. This is going to be moving close to Owens Crossroads over time. So again, we're looking at isolated damaging wind potential with this. The hail threat's really down, probably pea size. And back in the shoals, you're just getting a lot of thunder and lightning, and the acoustics are great out there. So that's why that thunder just rolls. We'll see another round of thunderstorms, some strong tomorrow afternoon, probably by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And this pattern just won't leave us alone. Tuesday, more showers and thunderstorms. We finally see this taper off a bit by the middle of next week. I'll have a complete hour-by-hour look at your forecast coming up.
Just hours after Athens utilities restored power in the city after Tuesday's tornadoes, severe storms and lightning this evening knocked them back out. WAFF 48 crews were out on Highway 72 and saw a lot of traffic lights out as well. It's unclear how many people are still impacted by the power outage, but crews are working to once again restore power. We're learning more about today's deadly shooting in Huntsville on Seminole Drive. Huntsville police tell us 2 people were shot. One of the victims later died at the hospital. WAFF 48's Noah Cowell joins us live at Huntsville Hospital. Noah, today you talked with witnesses and police officers.
Nolan, officers have identified the man killed in the shooting as 34-year-old Alexander Dennis Sr. And officers have also told us that the other person injured in this shooting is still in the hospital right here behind me, and they're expected to survive. The shooting happened around 4 a.m.
Just had a wind gust out of Huntsville National at 55 miles an hour. Severe criteria is 58, so again, it's close to that. Had an estimated wind gust 40 to 50 near Old Madison Pike and Slaughter Road there on the east side of Madison.
Alexander Dennis Sr. lying on the street. She says he was with some friends and he was walking them back to their home when he was shot. She says he had a girlfriend and kids and that he was a good guy. Police have not yet released any sort of information on this suspect in this deadly shooting. Reporting live in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
New tonight at 10, Huntsville police have set up traffic safety checkpoints throughout the Memorial Day weekend to keep roads safe from impaired drivers. Checkpoints are set up at some of the most common crash hotspots across the city. This comes after Memorial Day weekend last year saw 67 traffic crashes, including 10 DUI arrests. Some of the main intersections include Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive, Maston Lake Road and Pulaski Pike, and one's near Mid-City. According to the Madison County Jail, HPD has already arrested 3 people on DUIs just this weekend.
Rather take you to jail, than to have to find your body inside of a vehicle or eject it from a vehicle. The goal is to, yes, we can deal with you as long as you're alive. Like, I can't stress that enough. We can deal with you as long as you're alive. It may hurt your pockets. It may hurt your feelings. But eventually you're gonna get over that. I can't pull you out of a casket.
Members of law enforcement across the Tennessee Valley are going to be out in full force this holiday weekend. Today is the 5-year anniversary of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis. He was killed when a police officer knelt on his neck for over 9 minutes after placing him in handcuffs. Here in the Tennessee Valley, community events were held to remember Floyd's death. The United Women of Color hosted this event today in Huntsville for unity and reflection, with the goal of continuing conversations around justice reform and community healing.
We do need to have conversations. It's Mental Health Awareness Month as well, and we need to talk about decriminalizing mental health, decriminalizing homelessness, and also the sexual abuse of force is not acceptable. So when we bring people together, we can have those conversations.
Organizers say it was refreshing to see a good turnout at today's event. While a lot of people will spend Memorial Day weekend by the lake or attending barbecues, a 15-year-old girl from Morgan County is making sure soldiers buried at Roselawn Cemetery are remembered this Memorial Day. Emma Landrum raised money and is placing markers at the cemetery for every soldier who didn't get a headstone. She does this every Memorial Day, rain There's also a special tradition at the Alabama National Cemetery in Montevallo. This Memorial Day weekend, volunteers place flags on thousands of graves to remember those who gave their life for our country. Here's Lauren Harkson with more.
You're not going to hear me when Nolan's talking, just in case you're wondering. Storm's pretty much moving into Huntsville, downtown Huntsville right now along the parkway. Again, the winds may pick up to about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Isolated tree damage. The lightning continues to kind of slow down. So right now the most intense wind is on the very north side of Huntsville down to Lacey's Spring, moving east. It's probably going to accelerate a little bit as it goes over Chapman Mountain, the Green Mountain, and Montesano.
My father-in-law, and my brother-in-law all fought. Then I'm actually a descendant of a veteran who participated in the American.
Heavy rain on the way into Arab, and just torrential rain out here.
It's to remember where we came from.
I'm probably going to walk outside. Does he have me in the tees at all?
Yes, at the end
Okay.
of the 2 teams.
All right. Can't walk outside yet.
And the hundreds of thousands of sacrifices living on through memories.
Wind's picking up on the parkway.
My father showed me a great deal of discipline, respect, honor, courage, all the things that was in him within the military bestowed upon me as his daughter, and I greatly appreciate him for all the traits that he gave to me.
Happening this week, a lot of communities right here in the Tennessee Valley will celebrate Memorial Day tomorrow with ceremonies and events. Here are just 3 ways that you can get involved. Starting in Athens, the Alabama Veterans Museum Memorial Day Observance, Honor, and Remember event will start at 11 a.m. tomorrow. This event is at the Veterans Museum on Pryor Street. Also at 11, the Florence Lauderdale Memorial Day ceremony will be held. As we told you yesterday, this event has moved indoors to the Florence Lauderdale Coliseum. That's located at 702 Veterans Drive in Florence. You can also watch the ceremony live on the City of Florence Facebook page. Another event is the annual Memorial Day ceremony in Lane of Wreath. It'll be held at the Huntsville-Madison County Veterans Memorial Park, located on Monroe Street. This event is outdoors. It'll start at 11 a.m. If you plan to attend, you're encouraged to bring your own chair. From remembrance to renewal, local leaders are looking ahead to a groundbreaking at the Limestone County Career Tech Center. The first shovels, they're going to hit the dirt for the new addition this Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Santa Fe Road. And if you're looking for a job, we are on your side with details about a hiring event. The Decatur Morgan County Chamber of Commerce is hosting this event Wednesday at the Fort Decatur Rec Center. 15 employers will be there, from restaurants to tech companies. It's going to be 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you attend, make sure you bring your resume. Now to something for our friends and family. This Wednesday, Scottsboro is celebrating RGF Stewart Day. The city will pause to remember Archie's legacy of leadership, service, and civil rights. It all takes place at the Scottsboro Boys Museum and Cultural Center at 3 p.m. This event is free to attend. Now to Capitol Hill, where Congress is on recess, but events are still buzzing in Washington, D.C. Former President Donald Trump marks Memorial Day with a tradition, and the U.S. Transportation Secretary is showing off some cool American-made cars just in time for summer road trips. Here's Washington correspondent Ryan Henson with your look ahead.
Not seeing a whole lot of wind here on our Parkway camera. Again, there's isolated damaging wind potential here, but as we get up to Fayetteville, this threat's over up there. Pulaski, and again, I think this will be our last severe thunderstorm warning of the night. A quick look down here, Holly Pond, Baileyton, Huntsville. A lot of lightning in and around Coleman, very heavy rain. Some gusty winds in Holly Pond. Again, nothing really jumping off the screen. The most intense lightning is actually down here in Morgan City, with that part of the storm moving towards Owens Crossroads and New Hope.
After the break, we're going to take you to the Alabama Alabama Jubilee Hot Air Balloon Classic, where we had good weather this morning. Plus, the latest from Washington, D.C., where the Senate is debating President Donald Trump's spending bill. We'll take a look at what's on the chopping block.
Storms are fading away a little bit, but still a lot of lightning. We've had some wind gusts around 50 miles per hour out towards the Huntsville International Airport. We're going to take a closer look at your forecast. Here's a look at the Parkway as we go to break. Very heavy rain and strong gusty winds. We'll take a look at the Parkway coming up after the break. That's okay. No, I don't. That's the Parkway, Huntsville, in Max. Oh, were you look? Oh, you were looking at Alpha. Okay, you were looking at the net. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I'm just gonna go jacketless. This jacket doesn't fit me very well anyway. Oh, good. Rob says the wind did not increase over Green Mountain. Good. I did talk about Columbia, Tennessee. There's nothing up there. Might have some gusty winds, though. I don't know if we got a wake low or anything coming in behind it. If you're up in Columbia, are you getting windy conditions there? Let's see. Severe thunderstorm watch canceled for Franklin, Lauderdale, Lawrence, and Colbert counties. It'll be canceled farther east here pretty soon. I don't think it's going to be bad in Albertville. I think you can see a lot of rain and gusty winds. Let's see if Birmingham's got any more reports. Again, really not seeing any damage reports. That's good. I mean, there's maybe a tree down here and there, but there's lots of trees out there. Nothing from Memphis. "30 seconds out." Heavy rain, Gadsden, Boaz, this is all kind of moving towards you. I don't really see any severe wind gusts. The strongest gusts are near Holly Pond.
A big spending bill is now in the hands of the U.S. Senate. Members of the House, they passed a big piece of President Donald Trump's agenda on Thursday, but it now faces more hurdles in the Senate. The legislation that President Trump is calling the Big Beautiful Bill would provide trillions of dollars in tax cuts, while also slashing federal support for programs like food stamps and Medicaid. Jen Sullivan breaks down what's in the bill and the challenges it faces in the Senate.
Strongest winds are now pretty much crossing over the mountain into Jones Valley, Hampton Cove, Ryland, Maysville. Again, probably 40, 45 mile per hour gusts, and they're very isolated. Moving towards Gurley. All right, thank you. Hail threats way down. Gary says intense lightning in South Huntsville. Oh, Wes, I know my mic's hot. You guys just get extra bonus. Going to do a little more hand tracking at the key wall.
Back here at home, we're covering your community in Decatur, where this year's Alabama Jubilee Hot Air Balloon Classic wrapped up. Today's event featured hot air balloon pilots from across the country, tractors, artists, and a lot of vendors. This event attracts a lot of people from not only around the country, but even visitors from other countries, including Canada.
3 years, and it's been going on for 7 years. I enjoy the event, I enjoy being around people, and it's just wonderful.
If you missed the action this weekend, don't worry, the Jubilee happens every year during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. We're also covering your community in Athens, where business owners are still picking up the pieces after an EF1 tornado tore through the city in December. Members of Athens Main Street awarded 4 local businesses more than $21,000 in storm relief to help the owners recover. CEI Bookstore and Bennett's Clothing each received $10,000. Southern Throne Boutique is getting $1,000, and Broken Brush Art Studio got $250. All of these businesses were forced to close their doors for weeks after the tornado hit. Athens Main Street says more support is coming.
Now, your first word of weather with Chief Meteorologist Updraft.
Man, Nolan, it has been a busy spring. That's for sure. Going back to even Tuscumbia with that quick spin up tornado there that caused all that damage. They're still trying to get things fixed there. But we're going to hand track here, and then we'll get into your main forecast. We've got this one severe thunderstorm warning that goes over towards Scottsboro, Rainsville. The storm is weakening. We're talking isolated damaging wind gusts. In the last 15 minutes, there's a reported wind gust at the Huntsville International Airport at 55 miles per hour. Keep in mind, severe criteria is at 58 plus miles per hour. I think we may have just some isolated damaging winds out there. And the thing that may take out power not only would be a tree falling down, but it could be lightning. And the most intense lightning is down here towards Morgan City, moving through Owens Crossroads and New Hope. That will continue to move off to the east. So over Morgan City, as we take a look at the velocity, the wind speeds are they're down from what they were earlier. We continue to see this persistent area of wind, probably 40 miles per hour, going over into Jones Valley, moving towards Maysville, Ryland, and probably over towards Pleasant Grove. So again, I'm going to storm track this, but I think this is going to stay below 58 miles per hour as this continues to move to the east, moving at about, I'd say about 38 miles an hour. One thing about this is this area was hit harder earlier today with those bigger thunderstorms, had some trees reported down. We had tornado warnings earlier today, mainly up in Middle Tennessee, but they did continue them into DeKalb County and Jackson County, but we haven't had any reports of tornadoes. Had a lot of scary looking clouds out there for sure. But here's Pleasant Grove's around 10:35, Scottsboro 10:53, Hollywood just before 11 o'clock. Again, that is going to be for the threat for these wind gusts, most likely 40 to at most 50 miles per hour. As we switch back to the radar, area heavy rain continues from Morgan City down to Baileyton and Holly Pond. Probably some pretty stout winds there south of Arab, continues to move towards Albertville. And as we get farther out to the west, just a lot of rain, and the acoustics I mentioned earlier, they're perfect out there for this thunder to just keep kind of rolling through the evening. They have dropped the severe thunderstorm watch mainly west of I-65 as the main threat here, probably for at least the next 30 minutes or so, continues over towards Fort Payne. But once again, this area is rain cooled from the previous storms. Trees barely moving now on the parkway. They were rocking a little bit ago. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. We start Memorial Day dry, cloudy, very similar to what the today started out at. And notice we start to get thunderstorms around 3 in the afternoon, moving into Florence. And this line will probably intensify as it tracks to the east. Isolated damaging wind gusts a possibility. That's 7:30 in the evening, and then continues to move to the east. So we'll be here watching this throughout the day tomorrow. Again, here's your forecast over the next 10 days. We do expect more thunderstorms tomorrow, then again Tuesday, and we may get out of this weather pattern by next weekend. So that would be welcome.
Tonight, the Huntsville area Crime Stoppers need your help catching several suspects. Your tips can earn you a big reward. Here's Margot Gray with the Crime of the Week. Brad, good job, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Nolan. Thank you. He didn't. He's like, get away. All right, let's get in here. This warning is set to expire in 9 minutes. And the watch goes till 11. They'll probably let it go through 11 o'clock and then drop it.
The SEC baseball tournament in Hoover wrapped up this afternoon. After the break, sports anchor Cam Durr will have highlights from the diamond.
Zooming back in here, I think the west side of Huntsville is pretty much all clear. Morgan County is all clear. Coleman West is all clear here. Arab looks like the worst of it's probably north of you and south of you. I just don't see any significant wind there. I think everything with this storm is really concentrated near Gurley right now and Maysville. In fact, some of these higher wind gusts are north of the polygon. It was 76 degrees in the newsroom when I got in here. 76. I was like, that's hot.
Yeah, that is hot.
So I turned it to 73. So it's my fault if it's. Does it feel like 62? I'm the guy that goes into the hotel and turns the air conditioner to 65 degrees.
Yeah, I do too.
That's
My
me.
house is set on 66, but I don't have any fans or anything. I turned it down to 63 last night, though.
Thanks, Rob.
Luckily, my power bill is all tied up together with my rent, so. Yeah, I pay the same regardless. It's all included.
Laura says 65 is too cold, but 67 is okay-ish. Well, usually I'll go to the beach when I go to and you're sunburnt the next day, and that's.
I can tell you last time I went to the beach.
Yeah, you get to a certain point and you ice up your unit. Okay, continue to watch this storm track east-northeast Maysville. Again, we're getting real close to the radar, and we're looking at winds 39, 40 mile an hour. An isolated 50 would be a stretch, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I haven't been that long, but.
Looks like I'm driving home in the rain.
Lots of action on the diamond on this Sunday. We begin with the series finale for the Rocket City Trash Pandas on the road in Chattanooga. Guys, let's be honest, it's been a rough past two series for the guys. Just 3 wins over a 12-game stretch, but a chance today for the guys to pick up their first series split of the season. Except that wasn't the case. The Trash Pandas struck first at the bottom of the top of the second, rather on the RBI single through the infield by Mac McCroskey, but 7 runs by the lookouts in the 3rd and 4th innings. The only other Trash Pandas run came on this solo trip around the bases by Josh Crouch. Just struggled in the box today. 4 hits, 3 base runners all day long. The Trash Pandas fall in the series now at 7-2. But hopefully we can return home and see a little bit of a bounce back. The Trash Pandas return home this week for the first time in 2 weeks. They host the Biloxi Shuckers for a 6-game set out at Toyota Field. The series begins Tuesday, runs on through Sunday. All games will begin at 6:35, and on Sunday at 2:35 first pitch. Commodores' 5th conference championship in program history. Pitching, once again, the difference in this game. Vanderbilt's staff combined for 10 strikeouts and just 4 hits in the win. Some late inning drama, though, with a 2-run homer by the Rebels to spoil a shutout. But with this win, Vanderbilt just might lock in the #1 overall seed heading into next week's NCAA tournament.
You know, I think given that confidence in the team, you know, we've known for a while we've had the fibers to do it, and to actually accomplish it here today, just shows what this team's capable of, and I think now that we've seen it, and we've got a trophy to our name,
With Alabama and Auburn's early exit from the conference tournament, the Tigers and the Tide Wolves now wait and see where they're going to head into regionals next week. Alabama was on the bubble to be a host site, but after a poor showing in their SEC second game with Tennessee, the Tide's opportunity to host is looking grim, but will likely still earn an at-large bid. As for the Tigers, despite their one-and-done performance, they found themselves in the top 8 nationally and the highest ranking that Auburn's had in 22 seasons. With that, their chance for a regional at Clayton Park is looking pretty good, but it's in the hands of the committee. We will know for sure tomorrow during the selection show. That will be it tomorrow at noon.
Fingers crossed. Thank you, Kane. Here's a live look outside across the valley where it's been another rainy and stormy weekend. Brad will let you know what to expect for Memorial Day after the break.
Someone wanting to know what's going on in Grant?
I know, I did. I can never remember.
Well, we got strong gusty winds here, lightning, but that's pretty much it. The highest winds are up here near Gurley. You get south of Arab. Again, you can clearly see where this high, and in fact, I'm going to go all the way back. Let's go back 2 hours. Pause that. See how this is totally changed. You got this high wind. High wind moved through Hackleburg, continued, and Phil Campbell moved through, and then we see this. It's kind of interesting here. We see this little surge. You'll see it show up here in just a second. Kind of see that secondary surge of wind. That's as it was coming into Huntsville, also near Valor-Mosa Springs. So you kind of see a transfer of the high wind moving into Decatur, then it kind of skips and then accelerates east. That was the reason for the severe thunderstorm warning right in here. And it's kind of out of the warning box. It does look like some gusty winds, though, down into Marshall County. Okay, check the weather service. This warning is about to expire. Severe thunderstorm warning will be allowed to expire. They will continue with special weather statements. All right. That warning is gone. All right. Hot mic, by the way. Hot mic.
Thanks for the warning.
You bet.
Are we coming out to graphics or going right to the weather?
Okay, I can talk for a minute. Surprised I haven't lost my voice.
I know, you've been at it all day.
I know, all week.
All week. And next week, I guess, huh?
It's not.
And it's not over yet, right?
I've still got tomorrow. I'm still looking at strong thunderstorms. The warning has dropped now. They're going to continue with what we call special weather statements, probably all the way to the state line. The highest winds are really in the Gurley area, moving towards Scottsboro. Very heavy rain, probably looking at wind gusts 35, at most 45 miles per hour from this. The rain is about over out in Florence, but continues with the acoustics out there. A lot of lightning and thunder still going on in many areas, but the severe threat really starting to drop. The watch is going to likely be let go at 11 o'clock tonight. 78 tomorrow. Storms will fire back up. Another round of thunderstorms coming in after 3 o'clock, roughly 3 o'clock in the western part of the state, 7, 8 o'clock in the eastern part of the state, and then Mother Nature reloads on Tuesday with more showers and storms. After today, this is probably the 4th wettest May on record.
And you've said before, we can use all the rain that we can get because you never know what summer
Get it
brings.
now because you never know when summer gets hot and dry.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
All right, as the thunder rolls. Cotton Row run tomorrow? What time? What time? Oh, is that tomorrow morning? Oh, they should be fine. Yeah. All right, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in. I am going to log off, sign off, and we'll probably do some of this again tomorrow. Oh, now I get your comment. All right, you guys take care. Have a great night. It is Sunday night. I'll be back here tomorrow. I guess I could talk a little bit more. Those thunder's booming here in Huntsville right now. Again, that's that good acoustics. This just continues to fade away farther to the north. What I'm going to do now is, since I'm here, I've been answering questions on social media a little bit. We're down to 408 days. You know, this is a pretty cool way to watch for you watching us on YouTube. As you can, it's just like we're in coverage on TV, especially when you get on those apps. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a map for tomorrow. I'm still streaming here on our platforms. Still got almost 400 of you on here. So and I still got to go in and find section on my map. So before I leave tonight, again, I've got section, somehow it's in the wrong spot. So that's what I'm going to do here. Set up, edit places. I got to find section. What I did today is I'm trying to put section in the map where it is shows up sooner, because you know section over in DeKalb County always gets hit pretty hard right off that bluff. But the problem is I got to come in here and find it in my maps. And I got to go through every town. It's not alphabetical order either, which is kind of weird. So I have to scroll slowly. Again, we're down to just strong thunderstorms. But again, that one thunder just rattled the rafters here at the station. It was pretty wild. You're going to get that occasionally, and that's due to the sound waves. Sound waves move in parabola, and the formula, if you remember math class, the parabola, it's temperature dependent, and of course it's going to be dependent on the profile of the atmosphere. That's why you kind of get these real noisy rumbles of thunder behind these storms. Still haven't found it. There's a town called Vito. Oh, I'm not even halfway through the list yet. Because I've got two sections at the very end, but I've taken those out. Those are easier to find. Shoals Acres. Figure I got a little time to kill while I babysit these storms before they completely get out of here. Shiloh. Yeah, and somebody told me there's two Shilohs over in DeKalb County, and it confuses them all the time. I don't know how that happened. And that's not my software. They said there are two communities named Shiloh in DeKalb County. Oh, I see. There's a West Shiloh here in my rundown. There's a Hooker's Bend. I didn't know that. Gumdale. I am halfway through my list here. Again, I got to go look through this list of town names and remove section because somehow it's labeled in Colbert County. was more of that thunder. Yeah, there's the other Shiloh. Fudge Around, that's a town. Nat Hill, I think I've heard of that one. And I am not seeing it. You know, I can edit Rosalie. Let me put that on the map. Why that's not showing up on the map, I don't know. I know it did. Selfville is a town. There's a town called Guest. Let me get Douglas to show up on the map. Again, sometimes when we have these events, I need to go in and make sure that more of these towns are on the map. Billy Goat Hill. This is odd, I'm not seeing it. There we go, section. I'm going to take that section off the map. Well, Douglas is in here again. Okay, so now with this, I've completely taken a section off the map, so it should not show up. And I'll go in and reapply it. So for some reason, it's still there. Why is that showing up? That should not be on here. See if my other section still shows up. Okay, I know this one's not on here now. But I'm definitely going to put it back on here. Set up. Edit places. Section. I see what's happening here. So there we are. I think that's in the right spot. Yep, pretty much right there. So section, you're back on the map. I'm going to change the show range so it shows up 40. So it shows up better for you there in section. So we got that taken care of. But I don't know why that other section shows up over there because I took it out. because that's basically it's showing where the St. James Missionary Baptist Church is. So let me go back in, because this is bothering me. I want that out of there. Again, this section needs to be taken out. I think this was towards the end of it. Ooh, I can just remove it. I'm going to go and remove the other one too. So for some reason this section keeps showing up, so it must be somewhere else in there. Odd. Maybe I can work on that tomorrow. I don't think it's a real pressing issue tonight, but how bad are the Oklahoma storms? Let me check. You know, I might actually have that. Let me change weather, 48 to max. I don't know if I still have these radars in here or not. Let me see, because I know I put those NexRad radars in. Doesn't look too bad. Let me edit here. I can change the sweeping radar here. I can add a Wichita. There we go. Again, we don't get lightning data out of here. This is really it's just a slow-moving cluster of thunderstorms along I-35, well, just west of I-35, east of Lawton, the Wichita Mountains, Fort Sill, Oklahoma over there. So they may see some flooding tonight. McAllister, I'm going to be there for a wedding coming up in August. But, boy, we just got lots of lightning bolts here. I'm going to take you down towards Tuscaloosa, I guess, real quick. Severe thunderstorm warnings for Tuscaloosa. This is all moving towards Greensboro, Demopolis. So pretty intense thunderstorms all south of us. One last check of our radar, and then I'm going home. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. This section is in Jackson County. It's close to DeKalb County. But yeah, as you climb the bluff, right there. So just some gusty winds over here. Good sleeping weather. No Sand Mountain magic. Mother Nature tried to do that earlier today. But again, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I am officially signing off. I will see you all tomorrow. I enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Again, for morning events out there, I don't think we're going to see a huge chance for storms until probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll update a graphic that's going to show the timing. I'm going to go home and go to sleep now. See you guys later. Appreciate you tuning in.